Hey, what is up, everybody? Welcome back to the recap of the Walking Dead universe. Today we are covering Dead City. We are here live every week to discuss the latest episode. You can catch our recaps at any time, available on most major podcast platforms. Get new and past episodes for free in the podcast app of your choice, including YouTube. For those of you joining us live tonight, thanks for taking time out of your evening to be here. I am your host, Tamara, and I love a good TV show and a good book. So if you'd like to reach out to me, you can find me on Instagram and Twitter at the Recap Pods. And if you're into books, you can also find me at Shelf Addiction. Joining me is show co-host Lisa. Welcome, Lisa.
Hey, Tamara. Hey, everyone. My name is Lisa Orban. I am an author. I'm also the founder of Indies United Publishing House, and I love all things pop culture. So if you would like to connect with me online, you can find me pretty much everywhere at Lisa Orban Author or at Indies United Pub.
All right. So before we get started, we'd like to remind you that we would love your participation in this conversation. So if you are listening live, hit us up in the comments section. If you are listening on a replay, you can still leave comments or you can call us by using the voicemail link in the show notes. So again, we want to hear from you and possibly include your comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe wherever you're listening. That would really help us out. If you are new to the podcast, we are laid back in our review style, right, Lisa?
Absolutely, Tamara. This is a conversation, not a dissertation.
Yeah, no scene by scene breakdowns here. We jump around a lot. And of course, huge spoiler alert for the entire universe through yesterday's episode. So if you're cool with that, this is the place for you. And we should jump right on into episode 3.
Maggie's up to no good.
Okay.
I
Okay.
I have been wondering about this since about halfway through the first episode. And at first I was kind of discounting no, she just doesn't trust Negan. She has a lot of, baggage with
Mm-hmm.
him. But after she set the dino on fire,
Mm-hmm.
I am sure of it. Because she has a plan, but she will not tell him what it is. And I am pretty sure at this point it is offering him up for sacrifice.
So I also wondered why she set that thing on fire. Like she just did not want Negan to know that the girl was around, I
Yeah.
think. But
Oh,
why?
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
She doesn't want anything to distract Negan from being the bait. And he's already said, I'm the bait. But I think she's planning on double crossing him.
Well, so I'm not completely sure of that. I think she still has her own motives clearly, but I feel like as they are learning more about, like, she learned about his current situation, which I want
Mm-hmm.
to talk about shortly. But she learned about that and people are saying, well, maybe they're opening up to each other. Maybe she's not as
And then she set the dino on fire,
I
knowing what it
know.
was.
I know, but you know what? I think it's just personally, I think it's more about her son than it is about Negan.
Yeah. Well,
Because if Negan gets sidetracked with trying to find this girl, that puts her son on the back burner.
yeah. Now, did you read the article I sent you today?
I did, yeah.
Okay, so we also know now. I will say this. So you and I last week we were talking about her staring at that water tower.
Yes.
Now it turns out the water tower is not a water tower; it's a
It's
grain
a grain
tower.
tower. Yeah.
Now,
Hmm.
as someone from the Midwest, I'm used to seeing silos. So when I think grain, I think silos, not a water tower.
Hmm.
Um, but and then and the article also pointed out, and honestly, it never even clicked to me, but they did linger when I thought back about it on the sandwich, the bread. If this guy, if the Croatian had come and taken their wiped out their grain supplies and was coming back for more, there is no way that they would be making bread, and they
Yeah.
would not, things would not, so there's these little clues sprinkled throughout that episode that was showing that whatever actually happened, it's not what Maggie said.
So, how much weight are you putting into this theory? Because I only ask the question because we know that this show, all of these shows, have been really bad about continuity here off and
This
on.
is, yeah, and that's true. But honestly, it if that is a grain tower, okay,
Hmm.
and they have enough grain to make bread, and and the other thing is no one there really seemed on high alert. Did you notice that?
Yeah, they were just living their everyday life. Seem.
Right. They were
Mhm.
fixing, they were fixing the front gate, but no one was. They weren't preparing to defend themselves. You know
Right.
what I mean? You didn't
Mhm.
really see anyone, you know, walking around armed. You didn't see, security guards walking around. It was pretty relaxed, honestly.
Mhm.
Um, Even them fixing that front gate, they're just kind of standing around talking occasionally, killing a walker as they were doing their work. It was very.
Well, also don't forget they feel like they have a month, right?
Yeah,
So, unless he's broken his word before, they probably feel secure in that he won't be back until he says he's back.
right.
So,
And there is that possibility as well.
mhm.
Um, but I don't know, there's just been these little things throughout Maggie's story, and I've been questioning this for a while. And we talked about it last week.
Mhm.
Why would this guy have come so far from New York?
Yeah.
Why go so far inland?
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, that's a valid question. That seems like it's pretty far to go.
right. Again, I mean, if they were going to hit a community, they would have hit Oceanside well before they hit uh Hilltop. Just because, there there's no good way to transport a lot of grain, like that. And
So,
I
do
mean,
you think that the girl, Jenny, is like, "I need to tell Negan that they have grain"? You think that's
I don't
why?
know. I
As simple
mean,
as that?
I don't know. No, I think she was probably going to find Negan one way or the other.
Mhm.
She is connected to him, and when we saw the flashbacks and stuff, we could see that. Negan was like, "I don't know why you're following me. I've got to find you a place," and she's just like throwing her arms around him. Nope, you're mine. I have claimed you. And yeah,
Yeah.
and honestly, it says something about Negan's character right now that this girl who's been through so much trauma would trust him. So I think
Okay.
there has been kind of a fundamental shift um
Okay, I gotta
in
I
his
gotta
thing.
say something. Okay, I gotta when you said his character. Okay, so friend of the show, Karina, sent me an article, and I just saw it literally right before coming
Okay.
on air here. So I haven't had chance to really digest it. I'm kind of just reacting to it. So the article is on insider.com. I'll put a link in the comments. And we're talking about Negan being a different kinder person, but when he tells the story about what happened to his wife, right?
Oh yeah, I absolutely see that.
So he leaves his wife and child. He leaves them.
Mm-hmm.
Get on the train and go
Right, to Missouri. Why
to
Missouri?
Missouri. And then he's gonna just help Jenny and watch this kid and like help Maggie, and he's doing the absolute most for everybody except his family. I don't
Yeah,
understand. And I so what's obvious to me is that he likes leaving his wives
yeah,
because Karina also mentioned, rightfully so, that he did leave his wife with cancer. He ran off, you
yeah.
know. So he has like
Well,
he
didn't but he ran off to go get medicine for her.
yes, yes, but he knew she was gonna die. Like, he knew she
Yeah,
was
I
gonna
know.
die. And it's like, okay, yes, on one hand, yes, he is kind to Jenny. Yes, he is trying to help Maggie because he owes her one.
Mm-hmm.
But at his core, he's still trash. He's still trash.
Yeah, I mean, I will say, and this is probably my guess. Um, so Negan went and he's like, I don't know that I meant to kill him, but we all know he probably did. Um, but I kind of wonder if there could be a component that when he went back to his wife, it wasn't just the running because she told him not to go do that. She told him not to, and she knew what he had done. He'd killed all of those people. Um, I'm
I
kind
don't
of,
think I'd be mad. I don't. And I don't think
I,
Annie would be mad because
I don't know. I mean, because she told him not to make a fuss. She told him not to do anything. She told him not to go. And so I'm kind of wondering if there's a part of the reason he left is she didn't look at him the same way anymore. You know what I mean?
Well, I I've never ever been in this situation where five men attacked me and did other things because it was also implied she was
Yeah,
attacked in a a sexual way.
right.
I can't imagine that even if I told my husband not to do anything, if he did it, I would hold it over him. That is something outrageous that you would expect your husband to react awfully to.
Right.
I can't imagine she would send him, be so put out by him, he would feel like he need to run away.
Right. Although on the flip side, we could go back to being a bad person and just not being able to uh
He don't know how
handle
to
the
deal with shit. Yeah,
yeah.
like he's very immature in that way. And I feel like that immaturity kind of came through, like even dealing with that other guy that he killed. He asked for some of the bomb. He didn't want to give him any. He's eyeballing it. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
He's very immature.
But at the same time, on that one, Megan's like, I don't want this to be a thing. We don't have to go down this road. This is not where we have to be. And the guy went, oh yeah, we do. And so I don't think that was his first course of action was, killing this guy. And honestly, the fall back onto that post was accidental.
Yes, that
The
was
killing wasn't,
accidental, but
but yeah,
I don't
I
know.
think he's, again, is he a great guy? He's not. Um,
It seems like everybody, and I say that loosely, right? It's not
right.
everybody literally, but it seems like people just are so, oh, the old Negan's back. It's so fun to watch. It's so this, it's so that. And it's like, I don't know, seeing that article, it just really ticked me off. And I'm like,
Yeah.
it's true. It's true about his character. And I don't
Mm-hmm.
like him still.
Right. And it's not, I like the character of Negan because, every show needs a good.
I'm not going to root for him. If he
No,
dies, I'd be like,
no,
oops,
no, no,
guess
no,
he
no.
dies.
No, it's kind of like, shows with a good, and he's not really a protagonist, but who somewhere lives in the very moral gray-ish black area, can add some fun to the show. I mean, not fun if you're actually living it, believe me. But it just because you're a bad guy doesn't mean you can't be a good character. And I think Negan's a good character.
Yeah,
But I
but
don't root for him either. I don't.
yeah,
I don't. He's not. I enjoy watching him because it's fun because I'm not on the receiving end of any of his shenanigans. Um, and I think it adds this interesting dynamic with him and Maggie together.
so what do you think that says, if anything, about the bigger picture about this character, or how the writers and everyone are choosing to make these choices for this character?
Well, I think forgiveness stems eternal for a lot of people. They're willing to, because he has changed. Um, they're willing to give him the benefit of a doubt at this point. He's different now. He's not the same person he
Uh,
used to be.
I feel like he kind of is. I kind of feel like, honestly, it's a slippery slope, right? Um, yes, he doesn't want to be that person. He's tried to work himself out of it.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like if you keep doing things, it's back. It doesn't
Yeah.
take long to slide back into a persona that he he seems like he likes it. He's so good
Well,
at it.
there's something fun about being the bad guy. There really is.
I know, but I don't
And
know,
and he
like
does it very well. And
he
he did it
does.
for a very long time.
He did.
I think he has some regrets, not enough to really feel bad about it.
He doesn't
Um,
feel bad about it.
but he is. Negan is never going to be a great person. Uh, but then again, there's been other not great people on this show, and they've done okay.
I feel like Negan is the biggest bad they've ever had, And when we were first introduced to him, let's not forget, people dropped this show after that scene.
Yeah, that's
They
true.
said, I am over this shit. What is this? I'm done.
Hmm.
So they have pushed the envelope really far with
Yeah,
this character.
and I mean, and you have to admit, everyone likes a good redemption story, and that's what Negan represents to a lot of people. He is the redemption arc.
Well, it's
The
a fake ass redemption, in my
Yeah,
opinion. I don't know. I just feel like at his core, he is the same. He's
yeah.
he's put the dressing on. He's tried to make it better on the front.
But honestly, everything about him has always been window dressing. It's always been window dressing. When he played the big bad with Lucille, it was window
Mhm.
dressing. As he's playing this person now, it's still window dressing.
Mhm.
He his circumstances have changed, so he has changed with them, but he's still the same person he always was. Um, he's
Yeah.
just not, killing people with baseball bats right now.
So, yeah, he's not doing that, but I wonder if maybe they've led the way for there to be maybe a reunion between Annie and him when they're ready for him to leave this show, or
Yeah.
I don't know. Or they're done with it. Maybe they'll reunite them. I feel like I don't want to hate that character, but I hate that character. I
Which one,
did
Annie?
No, Negan. I
Oh,
hated
okay.
him before and I still hate him now. Like, yes, last week I thought it was pretty comical, his acting and stuff, Yeah, that was pretty funny. But this week I'm sitting there watching the screen, and what was the guy's name that he accidentally killed at first? He accidentally injured him, then killed him. I was like, the fuck? I literally sat there like, oh my God, you gonna run a cheese grater over his face? And then, I don't know. I was just like, damn, here we go.
Well, I
Here we
mean,
go.
that really was. I mean, because that guy had, he had said, "You're gone, you're out,"
Yeah.
and when Negan said, "No, we're gonna go rescue this kid," um, it was game on. I mean, that was whether Negan had hit him first or the other guy had started it, the outcome would have been similar.
Yeah, I think I would have been a little bit less like, oh my God. I literally just said OMG. Like, really?
Well,
Because
he didn't
this,
hit him with the grater until after he tried to hit him with the pot.
yeah.
That was his secondary choice because I mean that guy was
He's a big
twice
guy.
the size of Negan.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and
He's a big guy.
he was a big guy, so he was using what because in a fair one-on-one fight. I mean, let's face it, Negan couldn't have won. The guy had the reach on him, he had the strength, and he had the height.
Mm-hmm.
This guy was not a tiny person, and he was not it's not that he wasn't conditioned to survive. So you know I see it was a foregone conclusion from the minute that guy walked in there and said, "Nope, you're done."
Yeah.
And so
He didn't like him anyway.
he didn't like him. He didn't like him before he saw the wanted poster. He
No.
just didn't like Negan,
No, he
and that's
didn't.
fair. It's fair.
Right.
Um, but everyone else had already said, "No, we're going to do this." We're because this apparently is something that they have been wanting to do for a while, and Maggie and Negan have now given them the excuse to do what they've wanted to do for a while, which is to go after the Croatian.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I don't know that it's a good idea. I mean, let's face it. This is it's got a hell of a setup going on in there.
This dude is freaking crazy. Like, the, he does have a really good setup, and he's very smart,
Mm-hmm.
and he has no problem drugging people with fumes and throwing them in the game for entertainment value. I'm like, oh my God, this guy is legit crazy.
Mm-hmm.
that was crazy.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I mean, the people said, hey, we're not new to this. We grew up here. We've been
Hmm.
around for him as he's been here taking over. So I mean, I've got to think that they understand the level of crazy that he is and how dangerous he is.
Oh yeah. Oh, they know exactly, and they know that. I mean, it is an island, and he is methodically taking over the entire territory.
Mhm.
And very soon, there will be no one but him and his people on that island if someone doesn't do anything. Now,
Mhm.
that being said, just like to point out, the 16-year-old girl paddled over in a, you know, uh, what do you call it? A cooler. So if these guys really wanted to, they could just leave. They could.
Yeah.
Um, I realize there's no boats per se, but if all you if it's a one and done situation, you just want to get off the island, they
Mhm.
could do it.
Mhm.
They are choosing to stay, and but then again, I mean, they've been there their entire lives. This is what they know. So, and there is that need to defend your home turf.
Yeah. They don't want to leave. Like
They
they
don't
were
want
there
to leave,
first. Yeah.
but when it comes to numbers, though, they've got what, a dozen people,
Yeah, they were
half
saying
dozen.
how they've lost people and yeah, so I don't exactly know their number, but they don't
Yeah,
have the numbers against them, right?
no, I mean, because the Croatian, he's got hundreds, and you can the number of people there in the arena, the people milling around, um, the operation they have, he's got the numbers, and everyone seems fairly happy with their lot in life. Although that one guy died a sudden and abrupt death because of
Oh my god.
mealworms.
So let me oh my god. I'm like, "Wait a minute." He was trying to make an excuse. Like, I feel like someone else must have made the steak or something. It seemed like he was trying to give him an excuse before he didn't want to hear it. But I'm like, "Oh my
Mm-hmm.
god, that is so gross. It's a bug in there. It's a worm in there. Nasty."
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't think he would pay for his life, but he did pay for it with his life.
Oh, I knew the minute he saw that and he started in the Croatian got mad.
Yeah.
Absolutely, I knew that man was dead. Um, but yeah, like I said,
I'm
it's
surprised they even had meat, honestly.
well, I mean, there appears to be deer,
Yeah.
and it's very. I mean, they're in a gigantic stadium. It's not like they couldn't have part of it set up as for a farm.
Mhm. True.
Um, football stadiums do tend to be pretty good sized, and it's not like we haven't seen someone try to build up a home in a stadium before anyway.
I know. I
Although
know
this
we've
one's a
seen
lot
that.
nicer.
Yeah.
This one's it's bigger. It's a lot bigger. I'm not sure which one would be. Would that be for what stadium is that?
Was it for baseball? Like,
I was thinking it was
their
football.
baseball team in
I
New
was thinking,
York?
I
In
don't know.
Manhattan?
I don't
What's their
know. I don't do sports. I have
I
no
don't
idea.
know. I thought they were about baseball there. I don't know. I could be wrong. Don't get me to lying because I'm not about sports either. But for some reason, I always thought baseball, but I could be wrong.
I mean, I know they have baseball teams. They technically have two.
Yeah.
Was it Red Sox or White Sox? And
Girl, I don't
I
know.
don't know. Don't no one get mad at me. I don't do sports. I don't know who any teams are. I'm guessing on any good day. But yeah, I mean, it looked like a good sized stadium. So yeah, in Madison and those guys, they built one up that had you know crops and everything else, but this one looked enclosed. So it'd be like an Astrodome, maybe. Where they have the thing that comes over the top.
Yeah. I
So,
know.
and they've got power, so they can open and close it. I would imagine with the
Oh,
power
well,
they
they've
have.
got power because as people keep dying,
Yep,
they've got
people.
power,
That's right. People are resources. Hey,
which
and I
is
was right about that.
crazy.
Remember when I told you they were probably making fuel for the dead
Yeah.
people? I was right.
You were right, and it makes sense, but it's so gross. I'm like, "Ew," and they're all sitting there happy-go-lucky about it. That guy, they just tossed him in there.
Well, that's part. I mean, because it was kind of interesting because they kept flipping back and forth between them and their celebration of this guy's death,
Mm,
essentially,
mhm.
and over to the meal where they were doing that hummy thing and or chanty thing, and with the remembrance pieces.
Yeah, that was very interesting how they wove those 2 together like that. I'm like, "Okay, we've got, like, 2 polar opposite things going on, really."
Mm-hmm. Oh
So,
yeah, I mean, and they are very much showing the differences between these two groups.
mhm.
There's a reverence on one side, and then there's a jubilation, you know, a, a cult like mania on the other.
Yeah, because they are very rowdy, very loud, very, like, revved up.
Yeah, it reminded me of like a WW e wrestling thing.
Yeah.
Where you have the Croatian up there on the stage talking and getting them all fired up, and people jumping around, and you can see people even taking the masks, for the methane to basically get high
They were
as they
having
jumped
too
around.
much fun, too much fun. It was entertainment. I mean, he basically told Pearly, right, "Hey, that was the best entertainment we've had in a while. Hey,
Yeah.
thanks." Like, "What?" Like, yeah, that was a whole thing. Like, drug him,
Well,
throw
and
him in there, and let him go.
right. Well, I mean that goes back to like the Roman times with the Colosseum. Why do they have these Colosseum fights and stuff like that? It was to appease the masses, to keep them, you know, focused and entertained, and draw their energy towards something that is non-threatening to the rulership,
Mhm.
essentially. And that's what he's doing. He's focusing their anger, their energy towards these fights in the ring, and everything, to keep them focused on that more than what's going on the outside. Because one, you can sit there and go, at least it's not me.
Yeah, when that, Walker came in to the ring, I almost didn't recognize at first that it was the same guy. I'm like, "Oh
Hmm.
my gosh." That was kinda cool how when they threw him in there
that was
oh,
that was done on purpose, because from that
yes,
that whole thing, from the moment he made that guy eat that
eat
key, I
the
knew
key, yes. I
he
think
was.
he was testing him kind of as well.
Hmm. Although I'm not sure if it would have made it to the stomach. I mean, because he swallowed. Well, I don't know. I guess it would be pretty close.
Well, I guess it depends on how much time had passed,
Hmm.
but honestly, with his skin okay, so in again, this is like, I don't know, I guess suspend, disbelief or whatever, but if you just turned within, like, an hour or 2,
Yeah, he
would
shouldn't have
your
been that bad.
yeah, and would your skin just would you be able to just punch through someone's skin like that? Like,
I would think not, but I don't know. Maybe it's
I
sickly to
mean, you've
begin
gotta
with.
be more decayed and stuff to just do that, I think.
I don't know. Maybe he's filled up all of these zombies with keys. We don't know. You
Yeah.
know, it could be a whole thing.
Facts. I don't know, cause 'cause I'm like, he looked kind of decrepit for somebody that just died a couple minutes ago or hours, even if it's a couple hours.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he just has a whole horde of zombies with handcuff keys.
Maybe just for shits and giggles, I guess. I don't know.
Well, to see if they is a way for these people to get out, because again, it is entertainment.
Mhm.
He's giving them a chance to free themselves. He can that's part of the whole illusion of it. He's theoretically giving every person a chance to make it.
Like, "Hey, you're about to die, but first swallow this key."
I don't know. I mean, it's not like they couldn't shove it down a walker's throat.
I guess you could at the risk of getting bit.
I don't
I
know,
don't
put it on a piece
know.
of meat and put it on a stick.
I guess, maybe?
Kind of like feeding a dog a pill.
Possibly. I don't know.
Boy, that'd be a hell of a job, wouldn't it?
Hey,
putting
you that's your job.
wrapping meat on a stick to shove down the throats of walkers. That'd be a hell of a job.
Disgusting. Pass.
I know, right?
I don't know, but if I had to do that or serve the Croatian guy his meals, I'd probably not wanna serve his meals
Hmm.
unless it's perfect. So,
Right.
I don't know.
I would have, if it was me, if I was serving, I would have checked everything over before I put a plate down. But that's just me,
Mhm.
considering how, I mean, this guy is very particular.
Mhm. Okay, so what did you think about so other than like just Negan being showing himself as being kind, did you get anything extra out of the flashbacks with Jenny?
It he's very reluctant to be her protector. He's accepted it to a degree, but then again, he didn't fight handing her over to Maggie either. And he has been saying throughout this entire thing, you need a place, you need people, not me.
Well, he
And
can't have a place because people are after him, right?
right,
So he can't be someplace like that. Not really.
not really. Except, and again, I mean, Negan could leave. He could leave the area. He could follow it, like you said. He could follow his wife, to Missouri. Why Missouri? Um, but at the same time, I don't know. It's like, I don't know. It's like Negan's invested in his own suffering at this point.
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, so I guess that was kind of helpful of him to think of a way for her to speak to him without speaking, like call for
Hmm.
help with the whistle or whatever. So he's being kind of inventive when dealing with her, even though you could tell he's very frustrated by it all.
Hmm.
He's like, dude, you got to say something. You can't just not be talking. And then, they're looking for that fucking stuffed animal. And he's like, oh my God. You could tell he's very kind of put out by it, but he's going to just do it anyway.
Right. And I'm pretty sure that whistle's going to factor in at some point next episode.
Yes. She's gonna let him know she's there some kind of way.
Hmm.
Because I'm sure she's still just slinking around in the dark.
Well,
Although
they
I'm
did sup-
surprised.
show her watching Maggie set her
Yes,
her dino on fire.
yes, which is why I was honestly surprised she didn't like try to come out and make her aware that she was there. Like, hey, don't burn my thing. I thought she was gonna step out, but she didn't. So,
Yeah.
well,
Well, she seems to be incredibly distrustful of anybody except for Negan. Negan seems to be the only person that she trusts and the only person she cares about. And I don't think she
yeah.
trusts Maggie.
No, she just met her. She only met her briefly,
Right.
right?
And then
So
Maggie setting her dino on fire, does not do anything to make her trust her anymore.
now I'm trying to remember because you guys know I don't remember every single thing from every week. But did she physically see her with that dino in the first episode?
Yes.
She did.
Hmm.
Okay, because
Yeah, because she had it pulled out when Maggie was talking to Negan.
okay, because I thought she had recognized it. That's how come she used the excuse with the old woman, like,
Hmm.
"Oh, I just know a kid that would like something like that," right?
Right.
Fast thinking, but I'm like, well, she obviously recognized it. I just don't remember the scene where she saw it. Okay.
Yep.
Hmm.
So she was aware of it, and like I said, that's why she was surprised to see it and upset to see it.
Mhm.
So yeah, like I said, I mean, it could just be that she doesn't want anything distracting Negan from what he's doing. But I've had this feeling since she said I have a plan. Well, what's the plan? I'm not telling you.
Mhm.
And things aren't adding up. So
Yeah.
something did happen. I just don't think it's what she said it was. I don't know that. I don't know if she was out on an expedition, an exploratory thing, and they took Herschel, or if it was something else. But I don't think it's the story that she's telling Negan.
Yeah, now I am really curious about that, if that's a straight up lie and that is not what got Herschel taken, then what did, and
Right.
make it make sense. And
Well,
I don't know.
and I'm thinking that, I mean, she did say she told him to go into the cellar, and to hide,
Mhm.
et cetera, et cetera. But I don't know. I'm almost I think something else went down. I just don't know what it is. I mean, I
Hmm.
literally have no idea. Was it that sh this happened outside of Hilltop? And she, even when she was talking about, she hasn't been close to a lot of people.
Mhm.
Um, and she referenced, isolating Hilltop. That was probably not the best idea. She probably shouldn't have. Um, and so, there are some regrets going on with whatever's going on. But I'm just curious. I mean, I don't know if maybe, I'm wondering if maybe she tried to trade with them and things went badly.
Maybe. I don't know. Because I know we got like one little scene with Herschel and him, the Croat, but
Hmm.
I may you would think that if he was so important, right, we'd have more scenes with him. I don't.
Right. Yeah, we've had more scenes with Jenny.
Yeah. Hmm. Because I did think about that. I'm like, we haven't really seen him, but that one time so far, have we seen him
Hmm.
more than once?
No, just the one time.
Hmm.
No. Well, I mean, technically it was two, but it was, they were more or less, so it was a scene with him in the Croatian, and then someone else, and then and then another scene.
Yeah, not the flashback. I'm talking about like present day only.
Right. And
Yeah.
I am too.
Okay.
So they they had him, with the first meeting with the Croatian, and then there was a second one where he's like, "Oh, you think, you're going to survive this, or you think you're strong, whatever."
Yeah, yeah.
And you could see that bad things were about to happen, and then he was called off.
Hmm.
So, I mean, if he took Herschel as a hostage, then it would behoove him to keep him alive.
Yeah.
If he wasn't for information, I mean, honestly, why take a kid?
Kids know stuff
Well, yeah, I mean, they do know stuff, but
and
so
they
like I
would
said,
break easier than an adult.
yeah, but in general, most kids don't know the ins and outs of, how a lot of things are done. They just don't pay attention. Um, I mean, general overview, yeah, but I don't know. I don't. A lot of this is it just doesn't make any sense. Why he was taken, why the Croatian was so far away from Manhattan, why he went to Hilltop. None of it really makes any sense at this
Right.
point. And that's why I'm saying I'm pretty sure Maggie is lying, because something happened. I just don't think it's what she's saying happened.
They just need to make it make sense. That's all. Because now that the Croatian guy, the Croat, knows that Negan is here, right? Because we know that Percy told him, "Hey, I'm
Hmm.
here for this guy, Negan." He's like, Who would make you come this way? All this,
Yeah.
He's like, "Oh, Negan, this guy named Negan." So now that he knows he's there, I feel like that's going to be the focus of him trying to get capture or kill or pay back Negan.
Hmm.
He might not even realize that Maggie is with him immediately because he's
Right.
so focused on Negan.
And we don't even
So,
know if he knows who Maggie is, because we don't know if he left before or after um the saviors met
mhm.
Alexandrians. We don't know.
Although, side note, do we know what that's the name of their community or no? Did we get a new name or is it still um Hilltop in the
It's still Hill.
Alexandrian people? It's still Hilltop?
Hmm.
Okay. So they just moved. They didn't change the name.
Yep, because she referred to it as Hilltop,
Okay.
moving Hilltop away from the others, because
Hmm.
that's what prompted Negan to say, "Yeah, we kind of moved. We had this little farm is away from everyone."
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, it's and again, Maggie took her people and she isolated them, and I think that was a bad move on her part.
Maggie, I feel like and I've said this before, she's not the best strategic thinker. Like, she's not the best long-term big picture thinker. I think she is more reactive
Mm-hmm.
than, like, proactive about how to do stuff. Like, she's like, "Oh, people are trying to get to us. Let's react and shut it down.
Mm-hmm.
No new people, no new friends." She's like I said, very reactive, and that
Mm-hmm.
kind of puts them in a bad space. They're not
Yeah.
prepared.
I mean, and obviously they all know about the other communities, the
Mhm.
Commonwealth and Oceanside, and because they've been mentioned.
Yeah.
Uh, but at the same time, she is, instead of staying within their sphere of mutual alliance, she has chosen to stand alone, which I think was a mistake on her part.
Well,
Um,
she doesn't like the choices the other groups are making. Not
right.
really.
Well, and she really is kind of one of those people that either I'm in charge or I'm not gonna play.
Mhm.
And she has been like that for a while now. And I even know that she was very reluctant even to come back to Alexandria, after she had lost another community.
Mhm.
And she has drug Herschel around from place to place to place to place, um, his whole life, and from group to group, out of this unresolved anger that she has had since Glenn died. She's
It's
never.
still unresolved
That's what I'm
even
saying.
now.
It's
Yeah.
even now. I mean, she's never come to terms with it. She's never. And you can see that it colors everything she does.
Mhm.
And I think it's part of the reason why she's isolated herself from Hilltop, because she never wants to have her authority questioned.
And to be honest, like I totally 100% understand not forgetting and not forgiving. But how could you let and I mean, it's been a long time. How are you still, in the same headspace about it? It seems weird that you haven't, like, Maggie hasn't gotten a little further. You know what I mean? It's like she's reacting like it was yesterday still.
Hmm. And I know that it was traumatic. Don't get
It
me wrong.
was.
That was traumatic. And I'm not discounting that. And honestly, I think the only reason Maggie is still around is because of Herschel.
Yeah.
Um, I am pretty sure that Maggie would have blindly gone off into a rage and just put Negan to shame when it comes to body count kills. If it wasn't for the fact that she was pregnant and she had
Yeah.
Herschel.
But see,
Um,
because of Herschel is almost why I expected, like, her to be different and to have seemed like she is in a growing place or a better place, because
mhm.
she'd want to be better for Herschel, right? She doesn't
Right.
want to be broken for her son, right?
But you can even the tension between the two of them. You need you this is the third time this month that you've missed hand to hand combat.
Mhm.
Um, and I mean, and I know why she's pushing that so hard. It's fear. She never wants anything to happen. She never wants anything that she never wants the possibility of what happened to Glenn to happen to Herschel. And yet here we are.
Here we are. Yeah, like, your
Um,
kid's gone. This
your
is
kid's gone. But
yeah.
in her attempt to keep him safe, she has made a lot of stupid choices. And again, it's a reactive thing. But she doesn't make good decisions. People follow her because people like a confident person, and she does project confidence. And she is a survivor. She has, and there's even a mild mystique about her. She's the widow.
Mhm.
There are stories about Maggie. So she is, passing into the realm of legend at this point,
Yeah.
whether she's aware of it or not. And so people will follow her. But and it's not that she's a terrible leader, she's not. But all of her she is all of her decisions are based on the same thing that she has going on inside, and that's to be closed off and to be on guard and to isolate. And
Yeah.
she's done that to herself, and she's done that to her people.
And can I just say, so RJ, not RJ, I was thinking about RJ just now,
Yeah.
but Herschel does seem like a strong kid, but
Hmm.
I expected Herschel to feel more like Judith than
Yeah.
not. And he seems like he's the opposite. So instead, like Judith embraced it and she wants to know the things, she wants to be like her mom and kick ass and take names. You know what I'm saying? And
Hmm.
Herschel's like, I don't want to go to my class. I don't want I'm like, oh my God.
Well,
What happened? Like you failed.
well, if you remember last season, things between her and Herschel were strained. Um, and it really incensed her that he also, took to Negan. Oh, that upset her. God, that upset her. And I get it. If someone had killed my husband, that I actually cared about, in front of me, and then befriended my child, I would be incensed. I get it. But, I mean, the thing of it is Herschel pretty much knew who Negan was, and he didn't care. Um,
It's
so
because of her. It's because she has not been able to, I don't know, just like not get over it, but like go past it, move
yeah,
past it and be
she
a different kind of mom.
yeah, I think she has focused all of her energy on keeping him alive, but none of it on
Her son.
embracing her son. I mean, she's because it's not her. I don't want to say she's cold when it comes to Herschel, but there is. I have never. I have not seen a moment between the two of them where it was a tender moment.
No, and you know what? I'm glad you said that because now I am wondering, is that by design that the writers and the directors are not showing that? Or is it the actress? What is it? I feel like every time I see her with Herschel, there's like deadpan. Like it's not that loving familial mom son thing that I
Yeah,
expect to see, even
it's
when he was younger.
right. And what you see is a duty, an obligation to keep him alive because of what happened to Glenn. You're not seeing
Maybe that's his problem.
put
I know you don't
maternal
love
love.
me. You just
Well, I mean,
yeah.
because and Herschel is wrapped up in a lot of trauma. The fact that the reason that they were out on the road was because you know she was in preterm labor, and they were trying to get her to, was it Alexandria or to Hilltop? I can't remember where the doctor was at that time, but they were trying to go from one community to the other. Um, if she hadn't have, if this hadn't have happened, they wouldn't have been on the road, which means they wouldn't have been picked up by Negan. Um, and and even after, uh, Glenn died and they were more or less kind of out of it, she had to go into hiding. They had to hide her from Negan because he became somewhat obsessed with finding her, the widow.
Mm.
Where's the
Mhm.
widow? Um, so everything about her pregnancy and birth and afterwards, the hiding, the trauma, that's all wrapped up into Herschel. And while she feels this, passionate need to keep him alive because this is her last remaining link to Glenn,
Mhm.
um, I don't. I think she is so concerned, and she is so focused, and she is so broken because of what happened. Um, I don't think she can actually give him the love he needs. She will keep him alive. She will give him the training to stay alive. She will, um, she will make sure that he is that he is fed, that he is taken care
And
of.
that's the problem with their relationship. That is exactly the problem, and that is exactly why he's acting out toward her. That is it.
Hmm.
That is I think is as simple or as complicated as that. You know what I mean? Like Not necessarily that he's trying to be a brat about it. He just knows his mother doesn't really care about him like that, like in the way that he probably wants, right?
Well,
As a
and Karina
child.
and Karina just
Yeah.
commented, like Sarah Connor in Terminator. Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly like that.
Mhm.
She has a mission to keep this child alive, and that mission overshadows love, compassion, you know, uh, intimacy. I mean, with a child, I mean, I don't mean that in a weird way, but you have it's not just about keeping them alive. It's about developing their personality, or helping them develop their personality, and helping them to thrive and to explore their personality, who they're going to become, kind of thing. And I think that's the biggest difference between, like, um, Herschel and Judith. Is Judith was raised in this very loving environment where people took care of her, and showered her with love, and let her know that she was, no matter what, she was loved.
I mean, hell, Michonne left and she still knew her mother cared about her, right?
Yeah. And even Michonne leaving said, I'm doing this because I want to bring your father back.
Mhm.
And there was and Judith went, go. She agreed that this is needed to be done. Um, Even though I don't really think she remembers Rick, not really.
Not like that, no, and I mean,
No,
of course, now she's got her little brother, RJ, and he seems like, even though he didn't have that many speaking words
right.
last time we saw him, but these kids are just very different from Herschel, and I think
Well,
Herschel's
and
gonna grow up to be not what we think.
right. Well, and if you think about it too, I don't think she. So, like, when it comes to Judith, people talk about Rick. He was someone's best friend. He was, their leader. He was someone they admired. They were, but he was a man that they presented to her. She even even though her and RJ really don't remember, RJ never met his dad, and she doesn't really remember him because she would have been small. What, 4, 3,
Yeah.
not very old. Um,
Rick is a legend. He's like a myth, a legend,
right,
everyone is
the
talking about
myth,
him, and no one knows Glenn.
right, the myth, the man, the legend.
Yeah.
But Maggie actively discourages people from talking about Glenn.
And who's around in her group that knew him?
Well, there are a few, but she keeps them away from those people. I mean, there are people that, Daryl knew him, Carol knew him,
Yeah, but she's
you
not with
know,
them anymore,
but she's
so
not with any of those people that could
right.
talk about Glenn. And
Mhm.
she has pushed all of them away. All of them. I think Negan has talked more about Glenn to to Herschel than she has.
Yeah.
And that's pretty terrible because really all he has is, well, I killed him.
I killed your dad, sorry, kid.
Sorry, kid.
Sorry,
Um,
not sorry, I had to do it.
right. But so Judith grew up with this, you know, at least this figure that, and surrounded with people that loved her, and were dedicated to not just her survival but her happiness.
Mhm.
And the only thing that Maggie seems to be concerned with Herschel is his survival. I mean, when we first met, I mean, he was a quiet kid. He looked traumatized. And from everything when she was backtracking, and she was talking about, looking for, when she was taking him to that other community last season, and they were finding their little, like, depots where they had stuff, and they stopped the place that was burned down. Well, the Herschel and I were here, we got trapped, and it burnt down. And I mean, everything she ever talks about with him,
Mhm.
it's basically her dragging him from one trauma to another.
Poor kid.
And she could have gone back to Alexandria at any point in time. And for years, it was safe in Alexandria.
Well, she
Years.
had that axe to grind with them, like, they left Negan alive. That is
Yeah.
the biggest problem she had,
Hmm.
and she never was gonna get over that,
No.
so she couldn't be with them as long as Negan was around.
Right. But at the same time, she could have chosen to stay with the Hilltop group. She could have chosen to stay with the Kingdom. And instead, because she could not let, she cannot let this trauma go. She won't cope with it. She won't deal with it. She won't process it. She has just drugged this poor kid from one terrible place and situation to another.
Mm-hmm.
And while they are relatively safe now at Hilltop, she's still isolating them, which puts them in more danger. Instead of staying close to either Alexandria or the Commonwealth or Oceanside, they have chosen to stay apart because of her.
So I'm halfway thinking that I'm expecting Herschel to act a fool when Maggie burst in to try to save him. When Maggie burst in or Negan burst in, whoever finds him first, he's going to act a fool. I'm not sure he's just going to get up and
I
leave. I feel like it's going to be some drama.
I have a feeling if it was Negan coming in to save him, I think he's going to be a little more, uh, amendable to it.
Mhm.
I don't think I don't think he's going to fight his mom about getting out of there because he wants out.
Yeah.
But I have a feeling
He's
that
going to do
whatever
something
actually
stupid.
happened, we're going to find out when Maggie and Herschel get together.
Oh my gosh, he's gonna like talk shit to her or say it's your fault or whatever.
Mhm.
He's gonna like have one of those little teenage angsty moments,
Right.
probably.
And that's when we're probably going to find out what actually happened is when
Hmm.
the two of them come together. Through a flashback or whatever. We'll actually, we'll find out the actual story. Because it's not like this kid wants to stay where he's at. He's not being
No,
treated well there.
no, he doesn't want to stay there, but he got problems with his mother, clearly.
Oh yeah, and like I said, it really just comes down to she's invested all of her efforts into keeping him alive because of Glenn, not I
Because
don't
of him.
yeah not for Herschel's sake, but for Glenn's sake. Um, and I mean, you know, it considering the amount of trauma she's been in, I mean, women do have been known to just not be able to cope with the child that they have because of trauma. Um, I would imagine she probably had some fairly severe postpartum depression that, of course, there was no one there to treat.
Girl, it's so funny, like funny but not funny that how Maggie and Negan are like stuck together in this situation, and they're both like really, really damaged characters.
Oh
Like
yeah. Oh, they are.
no, neither one of them are like in any shape to be doing what they're doing, really.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's the only thing that I mean, the one thing that Maggie and Negan have in common is they are both the consummate survivors, and both of them will do what needs to be done to save who they have chosen to save. And Maggie has shown, when they took over the um from the army people, she didn't have to shoot that one guy in the back, but she did.
Yeah, she has transformed into a person that does what she thinks she needs to do, and that's it. So it's
Hmm.
almost like the same philosophy that Negan had.
Without
Ex-
the bombastic attitude. I mean,
exactly, without the flair, right?
without
It's
the flair.
Negan light. She
I
just
mean,
does it.
because they're really, I mean, she has done some terrible, terrible things.
Mhm.
Um, the biggest difference right now between the two of them is not their degree of badness. Honestly, it's Negan embraced it and very vivaciously, you know, showed it to the world. Um, where Maggie does, is so enclosed in on herself. She does these things, but um, they're done almost in dead silence.
Yeah. Well,
And
she thinks she has to, and she thinks Negan wants to. That's the difference. Like
yeah,
she thinks she does what she has to do, and Negan is just has no moral at all, and he's
right,
just doing what the fuck ever he wants. That's how she thinks of him.
right. And I mean, but again, she does things and she justifies it. But a lot of times, it's not necessary. It is unnecessary violence. She does it because Maggie always gets even. Maggie's all about the vengeance. She's all about the retribution. And she has become a very much eye for an eye kind of person. And Negan is too. I mean, everything that Negan ever did came down to an eye for an eye.
I mean, even with his wife, he was doing that.
Yeah,
And that's fair. And that, I mean, I feel like sometimes that happens, you know, but I don't know, not for everything. You can't do it for
right.
everything.
But
But
that's how Maggie operates. Like I said, the biggest difference between her and Negan is, he does it with flair, and she doesn't.
and I would be okay with that for Maggie if she didn't have a kid. But she's
Hmm.
got this kid relying on her and she can't be both things, you know?
And she's not, and that's the
Yeah.
the reason why her and Herschel have so many problems with each other. And you can see that she kind of wants to have that closeness. She just has no idea how to do it.
No, she's like a deer in headlights. Like she's trying to connect to him, you know, when she's looking at his little painting or picture or whatever
Hmm.
drawing. And he's like, get the hell out of here. I'm leaving.
Yeah,
I'm going to my friend's house. He doesn't even want to hear it. Like she
right.
tried because her attempt is like so hollow and he knows it.
Hmm.
She doesn't even know what to do or what to say.
She feels this connection to him, but again, it always, that connection always goes back to Glenn. It's not to Herschel personally. And as a kid, I'm sure he feels that. I'm sure he absolutely feels that.
Kids are smart. Of course he does. He knows.
And and he knows that their life was harder than it really had to be because Maggie can't cope.
Yeah, he knows that too. And the older he gets, the more blaring it is, I feel like.
Hmm.
So,
And I mean, even because he could see how Judith was being treated by those around her, and then how he was being treated. And I mean, there was a world, literally a world of difference between how he was being raised and how Judith is being raised. You
mhm.
know,
Mhm.
so yeah, it's a there's a lot of trauma. There's more than enough trauma to go around.
I know. The funny thing I think would be like if somehow Jenny was able to get in there and help him. Like, can you believe that? That would be kind of funny.
Oh yeah, I mean, I could. I mean, I have no idea what kind of role Jenny's going to have in this, but I know she's gonna arrive on the scene at some point next week, and it's not going to be pretty.
Oh
Of course,
no, no, because he's gonna be like, "WTF are you doing here?" You know?
now unless she decides to speak, she's never going to be able to relate any of the information that she has.
No.
She burned my dino.
Yeah,
They have wheat.
she's gonna be giving her the evil eye. That's what she'll be
Oh yeah,
doing.
but she was giving her the evil eye before they ever left.
Yeah, it's true. She gonna be really going in harder than that. I don't know. Maybe, Negan is aware. He can tell. I think he can
Yeah,
tell. Something's gonna come out. I bet she'll talk. Something's gonna happen. She can't
yeah,
keep not
something's gonna
talking.
happen.
Yeah,
It's really hard to say, but I mean, this is a girl that has been dedicated to saying nothing.
I know. That's
Uh,
stubborn right there. I'm not saying a word.
so it's I don't know that she will say something or not. I mean, she is going to make a appearance, and obviously she's going to meet. There's going to be something when she shows up in Negan Caesar.
Yeah.
Um, it's going to be a whole thing.
Oh, it is. I look forward to seeing what it is. Hopefully, I can get through one episode without like wanting to rage on the podcast. Let's see if I can do that. Shall we
Well, I
hope?
mean, honestly, I mean, most of what we've talked about, it's not, these aren't technical errors. It's, we're wondering what the characters are going to do, which is
Yeah.
nice because it's not picking apart and going, oh my God, why did they do this?
Yes,
Um,
I much rather think about character motivation and why the writers are making choices than to critique the dumb shit that we had to last couple
mhm,
of things that we reviewed.
exactly. So I mean,
Yeah.
I've really, I enjoyed this past episode. I think it was good. Um, and I'm really excited to see next week's. I mean, I've really enjoyed this entire season so far.
Yeah, I still think it's good. I don't think I'm liking it as much as you. I am like enjoying it, but I'm still having that like attention problem when I first start these episodes. So
I think honestly it's because you hate Negan.
you think so?
I really do. I don't hate Negan. He is a character I love to hate.
Uh-huh.
Okay. I don't hate him. But
Yeah,
you hate Negan.
I
So that's
do.
and half the show is Negan. So I can
Yeah.
see where that reluctance, you know, um,
Like, what
because
is this MFer gonna do this week? What now?
exactly. Like I said, I love to hate Negan. I
Yeah.
love when Negan's a bad guy. I love to hate him, you know,
Yeah.
and I'm enjoying this other side of him, which honestly was always there. Because like I said, hasn't changed. He's the same person. He just he puts on a new persona as circumstances change.
Yeah.
So I don't think that he has had a come to Jesus moment so much as this is my reality. And and he's doing the best he can with it because again, he's always had a soft spot for kids. He's always been kind to them. Like what's going on with Herschel and the Croatian never would have happened between Negan and Herschel in that situation. Um, Carl was, he was good to Judith. Um, so he's got this, so that's always been kind of part of his core personality. Um, so yeah, he's changed, but he's not a different person.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Okay, I think we're done with this episode. I think we beat that horse to death. What do you think?
Yeah. Like I said, I'm looking. Oh, I did want to mention one thing. Have you seen the trailer for Daryl Dixon?
I did see the trailer. Yes.
What'd you think?
It's fine.
Okay.
I'm not. It's fine.
Well, we've already established he doesn't know how he got there, so we know that
Yes,
he was out looking for something because he said found more than I bargained for, but you don't know how he got there.
of course. Which we
So,
kind of guessed that's what it would be. I feel
mhm,
like we kind of said he's not gonna. They're gonna just drop his ass there, and he's not gonna know anything.
yeah. Now, I did hear a rumor that Morgan's going to show up in um the Michonne and yeah, the
And
the
Rick
spinoff.
Now, that doesn't surprise me. I was hoping for it. Like,
Yeah.
as soon as they, let him leave the show after halfway through the season, I'm like, "Oh, definitely. He's got to go there. He's got to come in contact. If he's not in that whole season, at least part of the season, a
Mhm.
couple of episodes, you
Yeah.
know?"
So I was watching a thing and there's some rumors that Morgan will be showing up in that show.
I hope so. I want him
Mhm.
to. That would be
Oh,
the
I do
perfect,
too.
like, closing of the circle, right?
Exactly. I think there's because we started with Rick and Morgan.
Mhm.
That's where the show started.
Yeah.
So for it to come full circle with the two of them, I think would be a good satisfying closed circle ending.
I think so too. I would love it. I hope it's true. But I've learned
So,
before not to get my hopes up.
oh yeah, absolutely. I just like I said, I thought I'd share that rumor that I heard, and I'm like, well, I mean, and there's merit to it.
Mhm.
So no spottings of Morgan there, like we have Carol with Daryl.
Right. Right. Oh, and speaking of fear, like they've been talking about the guy in the trailer. Is
Mm-hmm.
that guy Troy from before? People are saying, "Look at the back of the head. That looks like Troy." That was like the character from that season that she supposedly died. She tried to kill him or whatever. I need to go back and rewatch it if I can find it somewhere that I don't have to pay extra to see it.
Um,
I might go back and try to rewatch because it's been so long. But
I never,
everyone
like I
is.
said, I didn't watch those seasons, so I
Oh,
have
I know you didn't, but
I'm So
He's
this person has no spark for me. If it's any.
honestly, he was just like this bad guy for a couple of episodes. He wasn't even like a main character.
Hmm.
So I'm like, why is everybody? I don't know. It might not even be him. But she is getting really upset with whoever that is. So maybe it is. I don't know. I don't honestly. I feel lukewarm about it being him because, like I said, it's not like he was a major character in my opinion.
Yeah.
So
And this
whichever
is
way
someone
they
that's been
go.
carrying around a vendetta for this long. You know.
Yeah, I don't know. So I'm curious to see who it actually is, but I keep seeing that pop up over and over again. So I'm like, maybe,
Maybe I'll find a synopsis someplace about this dude.
yeah.
Yeah.
I
But
don't know.
I'm honest.
He
I
was in a
was.
couple episodes, so
I mean, looking at their hands, I assumed it was a woman.
it could have been. I don't know. His family was that whole ranch arc. Yeah, Karina, I don't even remember the whole ranch arc. Like I said, I gotta go back and try to sort it out. Like I don't even remember him like that. So
I don't
I'm
remember
sure
him at
I
all.
don't even know how long the ranch arc was. I don't know. I don't know anything about it.
My hatred for Madison kept me from watching all those episodes.
Yeah. So I don't know. I might go back if somehow some way they can definitively say yes that is absolutely him, then I will go back and watch it and just watch those episodes and so then I will feel like I know what the hell's going on and what the gripe
Hmm.
is exactly. But other than that, I'm not going to if someone can't show me some photos with the man's face and prove that it is him, I probably won't go back and watch them. But if
Well,
I hear it is, then I'll watch them.
like I said, with the blonde, the way the with the blonde hair and the hands. I mean, I assumed that it was a woman.
Mm.
I was trying to figure out what female, and I could be wrong, but those looked very very much like feminine hands, not masculine ones.
Yeah, it could be a woman and it could be a woman with him, or it could be a
Hmm.
woman and he could still be there. I mean, they both could be two different things or the same thing. I don't know.
Yeah. So I guess we'll just have to wait and find out.
Yeah, we'll have to see because we'll see. Anyway, um, anything else? Do you hear
No, I
anything
think
else?
that's it. Everyone have a good 4th of July tomorrow.
Yeah, have a good one. Enjoy some food, some wine or cocktail or sleep, whatever you want to do on that day.
Barbecue.
Barbecue if you got to work, sorry,
Yeah.
Hopefully you're
Yeah.
getting double time or something.
Yeah, my boyfriend has to work. It's really sad.
Oh,
Hmm.
oh, boo, sorry. Well, okay,
I
I
mean, the
guess
rest
we'll
of the
call it.
family's coming though.
Oh,
So
that's
it'll be,
good. At
yeah.
least you got that.
Oh yeah, it'll be a good time.
I'll be with my in-laws, so there's that. Yay!
Yay! I'll be with my kids. My kids and my grandkids. We're getting the pool and everything cleaned back. We had a huge storms this week, and there's been damage to my yard. So I spent the last couple of days cleaning up after the storm.
Oh, fun times.
Oh, absolutely fun
Mm,
times.
Lord have mercy. Okay, y'all. So we're gonna call it there. Thanks so much for listening to the episode. We appreciate you for being here. And of course, don't forget to like and subscribe before you go. And we'll talk to you next week. Take care of yourselves. Bye, guys.
Bye bye.